Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 175, where a podcast talks about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm kind of bummed that we are on a time crunch for our episode this week. We're keeping a tight ship because I've actually done things and watched things. And I actually do have so much to say, but I'll save it for
Well,
another time.
I think that'll work out fine because I won't say anything. I don't have much to say, anyways, for my week. So you say your part. I think we'll make it just fine.
All
So.
right.
Yeah, it's 175. We're cruising along.
Mhm,
Really, again, for people, it's we've been around longer than it seems given the numbers because as we
mhm,
split the shows for the anime show, that doesn't count in the number. And for a
mhm.
while, we had two episodes a week, and one
Oof,
was
yeah.
numbered, and the other one was, it was like so. There's a lot out there. I've been doing it for a minute, and 175 just made me think of it again. When we hit 200, we'll have to do something special. Maybe we can actually do in person on 200.
Let's do it. Let's commit right now. 200.
Okay. All right. We'll be like whatever it takes. We'll figure something out. So, all right,
We
cool.
skip an entire month because we can't
I
meet.
know. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, that's okay. All right. Well, yeah, this is Popcast on the Rocks, and make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the
Mhm,
places. We'd appreciate that. We're on podcast services, all that sort of thing. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Penguin. We
mhm.
talked about the Penguin last week as well. It was episodes 3 through 5. Tonight is the rest of it, 6 through 8. So got the finale here. It's kind of a nice, brief, what they call it, limited series or whatever.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's funny to think about that as brief because they're each almost an hour long.
Or
You know,
more.
yeah, it's a you know few movies worth.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
So, yeah, that's what we'll be getting into later. Very spoiler heavy in that. We'll be going into all of it. But we'll find out about Andrea's week a little bit and up top, drink holidays.
Yes, only 2, nice and short, and I am celebrating neither of them just to get that out of the way. I mean, maybe sort of anybody could be celebrating the first one. November 12th
Right.
was happy hour day. You know,
hmm
um, really no way you can't be celebrating that if you're drinking unless, you take it literally and only go out to happy hour that day.
Yeah.
Um, Otherwise, we have another kind of very niche holiday. Just a couple of days ago, November 14th was Tempranillo Day. And I know we've had this one before, so I looked it up a little bit. And I know I've said this before. It's a type of wine from originally from Spain, but it's made with a certain type of grape called Tempranillo. But I found out a little bit more about like what makes it different than other wines, and it's like the way that it ages. It's like classified as a wine that does age very well, and it starts off
Oh,
like fresh and fruity to begin with, and then it gets like much, much, much drier as it gets
interesting.
older. So yeah, so it's like very specific. Like if you are into like my wine has to be X amount of years old, this is one that ages well.
Mm,
So trivia for you guys.
yeah. Perfect. See if we can remember that for next year when it rolls around. You're like, oh
I know,
yeah.
right? I'm like, oh yeah, that day, that weird day.
hmm hmm
So yeah,
Very nice.
cheers. Cheers to those
Yeah.
2 holidays.
Well, what are you cheersing me with, Andrea?
I am cheersing you with the tuxedo. Thank you for sharing from your
Oh,
Gotham
yeah.
drink book. So yeah, so this is gin and vodka, vermouth, a tablespoon of maraschino liqueur, and then a twist. And that's it.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Um,
basically just a different kind of martini.
yeah. Did you find maraschino liqueur that you
I
wanted?
did. I did. Yep.
Okay.
Or whatever that was available at my
Yeah.
local
Right.
Hy-Vee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like called Luxardo, I believe, or
Okay.
Lux something. But
Okay.
yes. And it's
Very
really
nice.
ridiculous to, buy a bottle of it just for literally what they call a bar tablespoonful, but
I know.
whatever,
I
whatever.
know.
I
I
have
have this whole
fidelity, man.
bottle. It was like I think it was like 36 dollars
Oh,
for mine. Is
jeez.
yeah. And it's like use a quarter ounce of this. Okay. Well, I
We're
guess
gonna
I'm
have
gonna
to
be
make some
drinking it
more.
on the rocks.
Yes. I was gonna say mine was like 18 or 20 or something like that. So, I mean,
Mhm.
still, like, hefty-ish, but not yours.
Yep. Well, that it does look like a martini. You got it in a nice glass. It kind of creates a V, sort
Yes,
of like you'd think of with a tuxedo. So,
that's
yeah,
right. I'm wearing
it's
white and black. I'm, like, trying to embrace the theme here.
very nice. I'll read what
So
this
cheers.
the Gotham City Cocktails book says about the
Yeah,
tuxedo.
please do.
Inspired by Gotham City's resident gentleman of crime, the Penguin.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
do penguins wear tuxedos? The flightless birds look as if they all dressed up and ready for a night out on the town. The tuxedo, the formal garment, gets its name from the Tuxedo Club in the Hudson Valley, where the clothing style was popularized in America. The club also bequeathed us with a famous cocktail, um, the tuxedo. This version of Gotham City favorite, rumored to have been invented at the Rakish Iceberg Lounge. So,
Alright.
yeah. Let's see.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I liked the tuxedo out of, the kind of the ones that you shared. I'm a gin person, so it spoke to me. And,
sure.
I like to keep it simple. Plus, I thought it was really fitting for these episodes, considering we finally kind of get to see Oz in some top hats and tails and getting all
Yeah,
fancified and kind of our classic penguin. So, yeah, this drink felt appropriate
right.
for the final episodes.
If you notice, I skipped a word in this
Oh, you
breakdown here
did?
because, like, I'm not sure how to say that word, so I'm gonna
What's
not
that?
try. Uh, Eponymously,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's right.
the eponymously named tuxedo. So
Dude, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I've read that word so many times, but I've never had to say it out loud. So I guess
I
sure.
should pre-read these, just,
In case stuff like this comes
but I
up.
don't. So, well, very nice. I have made the one of the other penguin inspired cocktails here, so very different. Um,
Yeah.
this is throw in a highball glass, got a little grapefruit twist on the top
Mm.
there. Um, so an invigorating libation inspired by the penguin called the early bird. This bracing cocktail is one of the leading sellers at the Iceberg Lounge's weekend brunch cabaret shows. Is
Ah.
well known all over Gotham City and is even served at fancier spots. Think of it as a cousin to the salty dog with gin. The early bird is delicious and refreshing, but also a mighty effective hangover cure, which explains its popularity as a morning drink.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's 2 ounces London gin, three
Mhm.
ounce grapefruit juice, half ounce fresh lime juice, a measly quarter ounce maraschino liqueur, 2 ounces club soda or topped up with club soda, and then the grapefruit twist. Um,
Dude, don't come in here with your measly quarter ounce. Mine is literally a bar spoon. A bar spoon.
yeah, it's got to
It's like half of that.
be pretty close. I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of excited I found this liqueur though. It's not exactly the kind that is suggested here when they just say maraschino liqueur. Probably,
Right.
or, looking like yours is clear, which
Mhm.
makes sense because now you have a martini. It's a clear martini. If you had mine, it would color the drink some. This
Sure.
is kind of a more natural sort of liqueur, uh, old recipe, more specifically made, and so it falls under the category of maraschino liqueur, but it's a kind of different take on a lot of the other name brands you'd find around. So
Sure.
it's called I should have brought it up here.
Is it
It's
hearing?
Hearing? Hearing,
Yeah.
yeah. Heering, Hearing maraschino liqueur, cherry liqueur.
Mhm.
That's a difference. Not maraschino. But it's a cherry liqueur. That's what I should say.
Yeah.
So how did yours turn out?
Uh, it's good-ish. It is definitely like martini, but I'm not sure that I'm a super big fan of vodka and gin mix.
Oh, really? Well, that's
Yeah.
Vesper. Come on now.
Uh, I
Um,
mean, there's other stuff in there to like, in a Vesper to like give it a little bit of like Lillet gives it enough, I think, to
okay.
like change the flavor. And this is just gin, vodka, a little bit of vermouth, and like this bar spoon
You need
of
more
maraschino.
maraschino liqueur.
I do. I need a little bit of something in here to distract me from like the gin and vodka. And I mean, I used the same that they said. So London dry gin,
Mhm.
dry vermouth. I mean, they don't specify the vodka, so,
Yep.
but yeah,
Huh.
not a super big fan of the mix,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to I just lost the pages for it. I'll have to write down that your thoughts were not impressed with
Yeah,
it.
middle of the road, middle of the road. It's like fine to drink, but I wouldn't like go out of my way to get it, you know,
Okay.
or make it.
Okay. Well, apologies, but it's a good stiff drink, so
It is, yes. It's
Mhm.
got that
Um,
going for it.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry you lost the lottery. Mine is quite good. It does
Yeah,
taste
yours
like
looks
a
great.
cocktail. Yeah.
It also I mean, I feel like these are very us drinks to pick. Like yours, I always feel like you have these like refreshing, like, oh, I had like some fruit juice and then I like threw a little fresh fruit in there. And,
Mm.
you're always kind of like
Sure.
in that zone. And I'm just like, hey, I made a martini.
Sure. That's true. Yeah. Yep.
So,
Okay. Well, moving on from our penguin-inspired drinks.
mhm.
What's your week been like?
Busy, full of stuff. Watched some Great British Baking Show. I watched the first episode of a show that seems like it's been everywhere called Nobody Wants This on Netflix with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody. Cute, cute little rom com, but pretty smart. And it's about podcasting. Like one of the main characters is a podcaster, so that's fun. I really enjoyed it. But then the couple of things I want to talk about besides obviously later Penguin is like so many people that I know and people who were unsurprising and people who were surprising. I watched Tyson versus Paul on Netflix.
Mm.
Or attempted to watch because, like the rest of the world,
Mhm.
Netflix was like, I'm not really sure I want to show you this. I want to be laggy. I want to have delays. Like,
Mhm.
I just don't wanna load at all. But yeah, I stayed up and watched Tyson versus Paul, and, what a sad event to stay up for. It
Yeah.
was real, real bad.
Mhm.
Like, just boring, like, I could be sleeping. I think Mike Tyson is sleeping, and they're just, like, pushing him around on puppet strings. Yeah, that was just so, so disappointing, and I wish stuff like this would not happen.
Yeah. Do you think this will harm Netflix's future attempts, or will like every time they do, hey, we got another celebrity fight thing, people just show up and
I think they've got one more shot. I
okay.
think people like the build up to it was good and like the spectacle of the event was interesting, but like the fight was terrible and it was boring. So yeah, so I think that they're kind of getting half points for style, and then execution was meh, both on the, obviously everybody had issues, but we could be generous and say it's a learning curve. They may not have expected quite the turnout that they got, and they just weren't ready to handle it. And then, for the fight itself, it was pretty bad. So I think a lot of people will be very interested to see if Netflix does another thing like this, who they pick. Because if it's going to be another like, hey, we're bringing somebody out of retirement and like, somebody's coming back and it's going to be this thing, like, ugh, that's really going to set a tone that people are not going to tune in for.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe on it. I don't have like, don't really care. Like I have no anything, but what I've heard is that there were conditions for people to make the most money. So
Sure.
like, if Mike Tyson wanted to walk away making the most money he could, he'd have to be in there all 8 rounds, and
Yep.
he knock out Paul in the first round.
Yep.
So, and it looks like, and that's what it kind of looked like. He's just hanging out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
You
there was
know,
a couple moments where it was like, "Oh, a little lively," and then they were like, "Oh, no, 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 too lively, can't do it, shouldn't do
yeah.
that, pull back, pull back." Like,
It, it
ugh, come on.
it just seems like a big stage stunt thing to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think.
So I'm just reading Ellen's comment.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's the internet's been a buzz with choices for Jake Paul's next fight of
yeah.
burying people
Ugh,
this or elderly. But
yeah. I
I don't know.
mean,
It's if that's the case, eh, how desperate is Mike Tyson not for money right now? Like, is he in massive debt? Because would you put yourself out there and make yourself look that way if you didn't
dude, but
really need the biggest payout?
also how desperate is Jake Paul? He didn't look any better. Do you know what I mean? Like, he physically looked great, but did he do anything?
Some
No.
people, well, he threw a lot more. You know, he threw a lot more, and he was a lot more active.
I
So
mean, but, like, I could do that. I could throw and I could dance, you know what I mean? He didn't do anything is what I'm trying to say. Like, there was no, like, "Hey, there was an end result here." Like,
yeah,
sure, you were more active, but you're how many years younger? Everybody expected you to be more active. I just don't think, like, anybody came out of that looking real great.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think so either. I heard someone say they thought it looked like Paul was like understood, got in there, understood that Tyson couldn't keep up, and then just kind of went easy on him the whole time to not embarrass him.
Right.
Like, I don't
Which
know what to think of any of it. I
right,
don't.
which if true might be a gentlemanly thing to do, and also, like, why would you do that? It just feels sad for all of you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm glad that it really wasn't working for me. I tried, like caught a little bit of some of the earlier fights, and then it wasn't
Yeah,
working, and so we watched something else, and so I had to
and I
catch highlight
well,
reels and whatever later.
and I think part of it too was the fight before between, the last 2 female fighters. I desperately apologize, I cannot remember their names at the moment. Was awesome. That was, like, no holds barred. Somebody's eyebrow was separating from their face, like,
Yep.
they were in it. They were just, giving it everything they had, and then to, like, have this very sad, like, "We're just gonna sort of do circles, lots of circle," like, it just was such a letdown.
Yep. Well, sorry about that.
But anyway, it was interesting because, it was something that I didn't expect. I wasn't sort of expecting Netflix to do. I felt like I heard of it out of nowhere, just
Okay.
personally. I heard about it like 2 weeks ago and was kind of like,
Sure.
"What?" So, yeah. So I watched it. Um, I will be interested to see if Netflix tries to keep this going or not.
Sure.
Um, yeah. Something I am excited that Netflix is keeping going and something that shocked the crap out of me. Cobra Kai season 6, part 2. I've watched all of it. It dropped
Oh,
Friday. I watched the whole part 2.
nice.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Must have been
I've
good then.
been it was amazing. Okay, so Cobra Kai, we kind of left it off. I think we were around like season 4 and it kind of dropped off. And I picked it back up. I was like, I just feel like why not? I really enjoyed it. Maybe, on a second watch, I'll get something out of it. So I pushed through 4 and 5, which to be fair, were pretty formulaic. Couple bright moments, but nothing revelatory. And then came season 6, final season, and it's been awesome. It's been so, so good. And part 1 ended on this, like, really emotional, excellent cliffhanger that I didn't see coming, and then part 2 I've been waiting for. So I kept, kind of watching, still good. They're in this, like, big final tournament, world championship type tournament, and I kept expecting things to start, like, wrapping up and wrapping up. They never did because Netflix, surprise, is doing part 3 of Cobra
Oh,
Kai's final season. So all of the other
okay.
seasons have been 10 episodes. This final season is gonna be 15.
Okay.
And the cliffhanger they just ended part 2 on, holy shit. Never saw it. Like, wildest imaginings, did not see it coming until
Okay.
the very seconds before it was happening. And it was awesome. It was real stakes, drama, like, it took itself up like a maturity level.
Mhm.
Awesome. So, yeah, so I was, like, stunned all over the place by Cobra Kai, um, because A, I wasn't expecting 15 episodes, and B, this cliffhanger was excellent.
Very nice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I thought this was it too. I mean, I haven't really been keeping up on it, just like kind of hearing a little bit here and there. I thought this was
yeah,
it. But
yeah, yeah, so I started to get, like, an inkling that something wasn't right in kind of, the end of episode 9 when I was like, "There is just no way they're gonna wrap this up in
right.
episode 10." And then I was, like, thinking of, like, all these, like, unsatisfying things that either wouldn't be addressed or would be so rushed. And then by the, like, midpoint of episode 10, I was like, "I'm fairly certain there's gotta be more to this." And then,
Mhm.
yeah, bam, at the end, it was, like, part 3 coming February 2025.
Nice. Not too
So,
long to wait.
no, not too long to wait, and I love it. Like I said, I didn't see this coming. So yeah, if you were a fan of early seasons of Cobra Kai, 4 and 5 are a little bit tough to push through, but do it because season 6 has really been just top quality.
Very nice. Cool. I think those 2 guys were at the Tyson fight, right? I think I saw them. Court.
Oh, Zabka and Machio?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so too. But yeah, I mean, great timing
Very
too, because obviously their show was
Yeah.
dropping this,
Yep.
but yeah,
Intentional at
already
all.
finished it. Yeah, I know, right? All right. Netflix didn't do any planning of this sort.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I finished this, it was like a blur. It was so good. Couldn't get
Cool.
enough.
Very awesome. That surprised me. I haven't heard you talk about that show in a long time. So,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah, they really stepped it up for the final season, and I'm really happy. I don't wanna give too much away, but they do circle back to, a little bit of exploration of Mr. Miyagi's character, so it really just feels like full circle bringing some stuff home. So,
Well, you were surprised by Cobra Kai and
mhm,
surprised by the Penguin. This show
mhm,
back when this year began, I thought this year is potentially a pretty awesome year for Batman. We shall see. There's a new animated series coming out. There's the Joker, Folia du, or whatever that is, and and the Penguin, and
Oh my god, I almost
and then
erased
they,
that movie from my mind. So bad. Ugh.
and they and then what? One more thing. Oh yeah, then the book I got. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Batman things. They did the relaunch of a different version of a Batman comic, Absolute
Mhm,
Batman. So lots of things, but who knows what if it's going to be any good? And here we are in the Penguin now talking
mhm,
about episodes 6 through 8. We were pretty positive
mhm.
previously. What'd you think going into these last few episodes?
Yeah, so going in, I was definitely excited to watch more. Like, I was ready after our discussion last week to just jump right into 6 to 8, or 6 and 7, I think we were planning at that point. But yeah, like, it was a show that I was like, "I'm ready for the next stuff." Like, this is keeping me hooked. I find there are some flaws to the show that I think could be fixed, but overall, like, these last 3 episodes gave me good surprises, good character growth, some shocking developments, and some a little bit of, like, throwing up my hands like, "Ugh, come on, I see this coming." But a great like Cobra Kai, a great ending to this
Okay.
first installment of the series.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with a great ending here. I think I was pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
At episode 6, we're one of the interesting things is this is a rise for Oz, to become the Penguin.
Mhm.
And so much of this show, he's like, it's very up and down, but very often down and at the bottom of things, always
Mhm.
trying to scramble his way up.
Mhm.
And so even as we come midway and later into the series, it's like, man, how is this going to turn out for him? Because
Yeah.
it's not looking good.
Yeah.
We're dealing a lot with his past and like no power for their new apartment they're
Mhm.
in and some of that, and doesn't look good.
Yes. I wanted to jump on that because I felt like there was such a representation of that in that first episode that we watched, episode 6, um, in the dinner that Sophia and Sal Maroney are having, and then we jump to, like, Oz and Victor and his mom, and it was just, like, such the stark differences where,
Mm,
Sophia and Sal are opening up this, expensive bottle of wine, he's making her, like, this really, um intense kind of dish. He's like, I my wife taught me how to make this. It's like this wonderful homemade cooking. And he's like, my kids love this and she loves it. She's like, here, use the fancy plates. Um, and yeah, it's just this like really wonderful togetherness in a rich setting with rich food. And then you get to like Oz, Victor, and his mom, and, they're in Crown Point, the power's out, like, it's this real, like, "Oh, it reminds me of this diner we used to go to," and diners don't make you think like, "Boy, we're well-to-do."
mhm.
Um, and the atmosphere is so tense between all of them, and it's, like, thick with Oz's ma's disappointment. So,
Yeah.
really, just right off the bat, we are getting that, like, big clash there.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was I mean, we had a lot there's a lot to meet that we got to chew on in these last few episodes.
Mhm.
We discovering more about, Oz's past and his mother and all that. So,
Mhm.
that was a lot of fun. We let's see, how do I wanna go at this? We always knew that Oz's brothers were gone, but
Mhm.
how and why was pretty great to see. What'd you make of all that? Like, did you think of, Oz as like, "Yeah, I knowingly trapped them
Yeah.
down under there"? You did? Okay.
Yeah.
And so I was
Yeah.
like, maybe like, "Well, I'm putting them in there, they'll probably be able to get out."
Yeah.
But night goes on, and they're not coming
Yeah.
home.
The difference is, like, every time he looked out at the rain and he turned back with his mom, he was smiling. If he thought, like, "I bet that they could get out," or like, "Oh, man, I'm starting to worry. I really thought that they could get out, and now I'm worried that they can't." There would be different expressions. And I mean, even, like, a flicker of worry, nothing, nothing.
Yep.
Was not
Cozy on
concerned
up,
at
watching
all.
the old movie.
Yep, watching Top Hat, which, great nod to, both, his ma's love of old time movies and, of course, like, penguin costuming.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, he knew. He knew what he was doing. If he didn't know the second he did it, he knew as the night went on. Absolutely.
So when we got to, we're treated with this flashback and all this stuff, and that sort of continues. But we get that through kind of an interesting method where, um, eventually Oz's girl offers up the information
Mhm.
where to find Oz. Uh, is it Eve? Eve,
Eve, yep.
and And that was kind of an interesting tense scene between Eve and Sophia as well.
Loved it.
Sort of a heart to heart, like they know both of them know what's going on here, but we're
Mhm.
not sure exactly how like they're going to reason it out and if they will.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
And,
I thought Eve was insanely smart. She was like,
mhm,
"Sophia's gonna come for me, she's gonna figure it out, so all that's left to do is get the maximum advantage out of it," which was, I got my girl paid, the
yep,
girl who sent you up, she got paid, and all I wanna do is just ask you to leave my girls alone. That's it.
yep,
Like, I feel like that's reasonable to ask for you to kill me, you know?
yep,
So she just gamed it out so well, and then suddenly Sophia was like, "Actually, brand new information."
yeah, yep, no.
So
Um, yeah, they were able to empathize with one another a little bit. You know,
mhm.
hey, we're both a little misunderstood here. What's who we are and what's happening. So
Mhm.
nice. But that leads then to the capture of Oz's mom,
Mhm.
and that was quite a cliffhanger on that episode because Sophia's staying there, basically
Mm.
car or whatever in
Awesome.
hand. It's like, what is she gonna do? She now
Yep.
realizes that Oz's mom has a condition. What's going to happen? So, anyways, obviously she is captured and Vic is knocked out. Surprising he's not dead, but I guess, again, we see that she's not just like all bad here. She has,
Mhm.
she has her goals and her mission and whatever. But, yeah, these flashbacks sort of start to play out after a while through a kind of recollection sort of therapy thing. So it's really
Yeah.
nice. Again, this is well thought out. How early on in the season we get Sophia doing the same sort of light treatment with the therapist. We're kind of like,
Mhm.
who's the therapist? What is his purpose going to be? And lo and behold, here we.
Yes.
I have a reason for you to be here now. Actually, this works out perfectly. Let's delve into the mind of Oz's mother a little bit, and we can
Mhm.
engage this confrontation then between
Mhm.
Oz and his mother to inflict ultimate pain on Oz,
Mhm.
emotional damage.
Mhm.
W Well done. Yeah.
Yes. That whole sequence was so good. And of course, we as the audience didn't really know when Sophia set it up what the significance was of, them going to Monroe's, that club. And then we get to
Yep.
learn it right away. And it's good. It's so good. Just the whole, like, did she know? Did she not know that Oz, killed her kids, his brothers? Oh, she did, and, she couldn't take it. Like, she didn't just, think like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll live with my one child." She was gonna have him killed, you know? And then she ultimately couldn't go through with it, which I gotta tell you, that was one of the weirdest conversations, in this entire series, and one of the weirdest conversations I've witnessed between a child and his parent, because it was, like, so adult on the part of Oz, and it was borderline romantic. It was borderline, like, I am a partner, like a romantic
Right.
partner without I will draw a line of, like, there's no, like, sexual,
Right.
intent that I could read, but it was like a love that borders on romance and obsession.
Yep.
And I think I took a note that was like, "This is, like, the worst Oedipal trope I've ever seen." Um, so, yeah, it was creepy and weird.
I feel like our showrunner here, uh, forget Lauren something,
Yeah.
I've listened to her now and some of the podcasts, and
Yeah, I've watched some of the after show stuff and yeah.
'cause I think Walking Dead really started, but there's the official podcast for every episode you can listen to and
Mhm.
listen to a couple of them. And I didn't hear her mention this, but to me, this says that she's done some looking into, like, serial killers and the criminal
Mhm.
mind and stuff because this sort of thing often weird relationships with parents. And so
Yes.
it is a little undefined, or there's a denial one way or another, like, "Oh, it wasn't sexual." Sometimes they say it was, and the other one denies it.
Mhm.
All kinds of strange stuff, and Oz fits into this kind of nicely. Like, he seems
Mhm.
very functioning typically on the outside, but his background is so dysfunctional, and
Mhm.
this whole sort of reveal was really, enlightening to whereas Oz was the more sympathetic character, and his mother was like, "Oh, we see how he's gotten this way," and
Mhm.
quite the flip of
Yes.
obviously, there's a shared responsibility, but at the same time, we see that she gains a lot of sympathy all of a sudden.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And you it made me start to wonder where this whole, like, "I want a better life" thing came from because it almost felt in this conversation like Oz was telling her, "I see what you want. I see you want these things and those things, and you want, the jewels, you wanna walk down the street, you want the house," and it was like, does she? Like, does
Right.
she want it as bad as you think she wants it? I mean, I think we all have those tendencies, but there are greater and lesser degrees, and I think you're you're really taking it and running with it and blowing it out of proportion because I'm pretty sure that, like, her telling you, "I have enough for all of you," was like, yeah, like, she would have taken the life she had with her kids over, what you're trying to give her.
Yeah. And then we see that parallel with Vic and his family as we talked about previously, and then
Yeah.
Oz and his because it was the same sort of deal. Like Vic's father didn't seem particularly upset that
Mhm.
living, in the Ritz-Carlton or nearby or whatever, like
Right.
have some sort of life of luxury, but they were cooking their own food at home and they had heat and power and their family was together and the father
Yes.
worked hard and all this sort of thing, like, but it's a different set of values than for a child.
Mhm.
Well, Oz, like, yeah, what does he envision that his, because his one brother says, yeah, that Rex Calabrese doesn't pay her enough and stuff like that, so we get an idea that like she could he's getting in his head that she should have more, she could have more,
Mhm.
she deserves more, that sort of thing or whatever, but yeah, no, we again, another person with a house, a roof for their kids, and I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I
Yeah.
didn't really think of that before, but yeah, is it more more his vision, and then eventually she has to kind of just accept and glob onto that. Like
Right.
this is the
Life
ride
raft.
I'm on now. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. And I do wanna side note this. I feel so sympathetic, I think, for Oz's ma because as a parent, what would you do? Do you
yeah,
know? Like, that is just I can't every time I think about it, I'm like, I have no clue what I would do,
yeah.
you
Because what are
know?
your options? You have your Rex is giving you an option of like, hey, I'll take care of him. you know,
Yep.
We'll get rid of them for you. That is like, well, getting rid of your one remaining son doesn't bring back your other two.
Right.
You can raise him, but he's messed up.
Right.
Or, you can raise him and either go along with his delusions of
Right.
grandeur
Or
or whatever, or get him help,
yes.
do for help,
Right.
or
But
do
then,
you
like
like go to the police?
right, exactly. Like, that's I mean, on the one hand, you have the, like, tug of, like, "Okay, let's do the right thing and, like, go to the police and stuff," and then, I don't know. Like, it
Yeah.
it would
Is
be
that going to
so it
make
would
him
still be
better?
so tough. Yeah, is it gonna
Is that
make
going to
it
help
better? Is it
society?
gonna right. Like, is it gonna make it worse? Like, how
Yeah.
is are you going to try to be their life raft and, like, you still have positive feelings for me, so maybe I can turn this around? Like, I do feel like there's some of that there for, you know, his mom, and it clearly doesn't work out?
No. No. Um, but the sad thing is that, in my mind, she shouldn't have hung on to, like, after a while, he's promising all this stuff, and he's not delivering. You see the sort of life he lives. Instead of embracing it and saying,
Yeah.
"You don't get it," that's where it should have been, "No, and I'm out." Like, we
Yeah.
have our separate ways, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I did what
Mhm.
I could, you didn't work out, now how would he take that and stuff? I don't know, but that's so I was wondering, why did they fake her death or whatever? They hid her, you know?
So she
Like,
wouldn't be leverage.
but no one else had I mean, no one else has that. No one else has gone that. So why is Oz so? Because at first he's got his job, he's got his gig, he's the thing, whatever. Is it like a preemptive planning thing? He planned it out like, "I'm going to make moves someday, and I can't have you be."
I think so, and I think her diagnosis just hastened that idea,
Mhm.
that she is just like not only is she a weak spot because she's family, but she's a weaker spot because, she has these episodes and somebody could just find her and mess with her head like Sophia does. I mean,
Right.
Sophia's messing with her head to reveal the truth, but
Yep.
she's still messing with her to like hurt Oz is the goal. She's just using the truth to do it.
Yep.
So yeah, I think this is definitely like you can see from his reaction, this was always a big fear of his that somebody was going to get to her and turn her against him. And he thinks like you're using her diagnosis. And Sophia's like, actually, I'm just using her real feelings, buddy.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
what made this scene so great, I think, is like Oz still is just clinging to the delusion that she hasn't figured it out. She doesn't know, she loves him so much and all of her love and attention is focused on him and
Yeah.
completely ignores the fact of anything she's saying to him.
Yep. We said it before, but once again, like, the actress for his mom did such a great
Yes.
job.
Oof.
Like, the moments
Excellent.
of, like, lucidity, and then to hazy and back when she's dealing with, particularly with Sophia to begin with, is
Yes.
really good.
In and out of
And
her memories with the younger version of the actress who plays the younger version of her character, like, that both of them were kind of in and out of those. Wow, top
yep,
notch.
very good. Um, yeah, so we really get to, it to Oz's credit, whatever it takes, he's gonna let himself be taken in, captured, and so they can have this,
Mhm.
and then they have this big confrontation. He's taped down, and they're gonna cut her finger off, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Um,
so good. Chris Milioti
yeah,
really nails the crazy here, like,
mhm,
crazy, but focused, like, it has a purpose, but she's just, like, so enjoying this moment. Oh, I love it. She is, like, unhinged in a great way.
yeah. She did. I've liked her through the whole series. I know you've had some up and downs
Mhm.
with her. I've been a fan of her the whole series, and good outfit picks. Like, she's
Yes.
just like fashionista all the time. That's kind of a fun element of her character.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
it was
I
all
can't
good.
say enough. I can't say enough about the acting job she did in the final 3. I really enjoy she's risen to be one of my favorite parts here in the closing of this season.
Nice. Um. Oh yeah, I wrote this quote down. Who said this? I deserve a happy life. Oh yeah, God, that was really before. Um, I think that was his mom saying that
Yeah,
to Oz. And again, it was kind of like before really the flip. At
yeah,
first it's like, again, I'm more sympathetic to Oz here. Look at how this is,
right.
this is the way his mom is as well and everything. And then when we really learn the truth, it's like, oh, okay, I guess so.
Yeah.
Um, I was a little confused at the start of episode 8. Just the way they started. I just needed
Yeah.
patience, but I was a little like, hold on. Where are we in time? What just happened?
Yes. Yes.
But it revealed itself, so I think it was
Yes.
okay here. Um trying to think of, the Sophia, not a like an intense moment, but Sophia burning down the mansion was just
Loved it.
cool. You know,
Loved
I
it.
think that's probably when I wrote the like Sophia is a good crazy hot, because it's just like she's lighting 3 cigarettes, she's like burning the whole place.
Just having a
There's a really
party.
cool song going. Yeah,
Yes, I loved that
that
whole
was fun.
scene. Excellent. So much fun. I mean, I was a little like, you know, there was a little prod from my conscience that I was like, "What? I mean, you kinda promised everybody your house, man. You couldn't really just, like, burn the stuff and leave the house," but whatever. Good scene, good scene.
Yeah. No, there's gonna be some people that are a little upset. It's like, well, I guess what are they gonna do about it? They still get the
Y
operation and stuff, is
yeah,
the
you get the
idea.
operation, you get the bones of a house, you can salvage it
Yeah.
if you want. I mean,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. Um, yeah, I wrote what a waste though. It's sad to see it
Yeah.
burn in a way, but let's see what else. Um, a lot happened. I get what people talked about earlier. Some people were saying, and I didn't know why they were saying it, but it's like after these events, to have Batman not show up would be like wrong, and I
Yeah.
think that was when the bomb went off in the streets and some of the streets collapsed and stuff like that.
Hard to
Um,
ignore that.
hard to ignore that, but I've read some stuff since now, whatever, some more things, and Matt Reeves is on talking about how in this moment, all this the show starts like a week after the Batman. All this chaos has happened,
Sure.
and Bruce is feeling responsible for a lot of it. So his comments are Bruce Wayne right now is having a really hard time being the Batman.
Okay.
So
Yep.
um, it's going to be interesting to see where we see him pick up in the next movie. I think that's all going to make sense. So,
Sure.
but yeah, that was crazy. I think Oz did a good job trying to get the other gangs together. So to address a couple of the problems I had. One,
Great. Great.
okay.
I'm ready to
um,
address mine too, so you go first.
Okay. So one was the coordination of getting all the like second
Yes.
rank to take down their bosses.
Yes.
In theory, okay.
Cool idea.
But it's giving it's let have and I don't want like tons of exposition for these different things, but there's another thing that deals with this too. There's a lot to let the audience assume and fill
Mhm.
in to where this is believable
Mhm.
that everyone is just gonna go along with this.
Yeah. There's one line. That's it. Where
What's
Victor
the
has
one
the
line?
idea about Victor has the idea about
Oh,
number 2s.
yes. Yeah, he talks about, the one guy, right, from
Link.
the yes. Mhm,
Mhm. Yep.
mhm,
And then you have to like infer that they took that and ran with
and
it
really
and
went with
and
it.
got and got everybody to go in on it.
Yeah, yep. So
Yeah.
that to me was like, yes, with time, I can see how that is possible. So,
Mhm.
ultimately, it's okay, but it is a stretch, and
Mhm.
again, it's a lot for us to try to fill in.
Mhm. And for them to coordinate and have
Yeah,
everybody agree in such a short amount of time.
yeah,
Because, I mean, you have to then as an audience member make the assumption that everybody is unhappy as number 2 and also thinks that, like,
yes,
killing the number 1 out of nowhere is a good idea. Because in general, you don't wanna set that precedent because whoever comes up after you
yes,
gets the idea. So you have to sell it usually if you're the number 2 taking over for the number 1, there has to be some sort of explanation other than they're ready to pass it down to you. So there has to be like, "Oh my god, they're not competent anymore. Look at this pile of evidence I have." They're cruel. Look at this pile of evidence I have. They're making, X decision that's going to ruin all of us. here's the evidence I have. You have to
Yeah.
have and sell to the rest of the organization a legit reason for doing this.
Yeah.
And
I
did
think that
everybody have one?
I think they probably went with the class warfare kind of strategy that Oz had used to
Right.
begin with, and is sort of can see where there was more hesitancy in the bosses, and sort of would be trying to sell people, look, they've been in charge and they've been keeping stuff from you. You guys are not
Right.
getting you should be paid what you're owed. You guys are putting in all the real work, So so it'd be like, okay, the number two will take over. So now the rest of us can actually get what we're
Right.
what we're putting in here. We're gonna get out.
The trick is you have to then follow through because otherwise they're going to do
Yeah,
the same thing to you. It's going to turn. The wheel turns and they'll say like you're hoarding all, you're turning into, what the number 1 used to be, like we're going to rise up.
yeah. It's
So
kind of Sophia
that's the
too.
precedent.
So
Yeah.
when she gets everybody around, it's the same kind of deal. Like here's all this money, you know.
Right, like she's actually, proposing. We
Yeah.
don't get to see her lead long enough to like follow through on it, long term, but she's proposing. She understands like I'm taking over, but I'm immediately giving you all what you deserve.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
like, the idea is sound, but we never see her or we never have to see her
Yep.
follow through long term.
Um, let's see. What what else you got issues with?
Okay. Okay. My big issues here in these episodes, Oz always escaping whatever is going on in like wildly unbelievable ways. He gets set up for this big fight with Sal Maroni and Sal has a heart attack? What? That was so unsatisfying and unbelievable.
But
Unbelievable. He seemed fine in the picture of health. There was nothing there to suggest I'm gonna have a heart attack in the middle of this fight. Like, other things, circumstantial things, you know, in the explosion, something falls on him, whatever, like somebody else nicks him with a gunshot, something more believable than a random heart attack. And I was just being like, standing over his corpse, being like, I win. Like, ugh. Ugh,
I don't
that
know
was
to give it some point
terrible.
or like here's some what I've found to be some of the things in here is like they're possible, not probable. That's
Yes,
to me
this
these issues is that there are just what we just talked about too. Possible but not probable. And we had that with the fire thing, the way they were burned too.
yes.
Possible but not probable. So I
And
don't
and
know.
and so it feels like there's one too many of those happening, like, it's so stretchy, like, I can believe it, but it's hard. It does take me out of the moment of storytelling
Mhm.
because I'm like, "He has a heart attack right now," you know? So,
Ty
yeah, that was difficult for me.
Ty Briggs in the chat said he did get stabbed. And yeah, he's been stabbed, but like
But
does that a heart attack then?
right?
I think see the my frustration with some of these things is that with how smart a lot of the writing is and the way things connect and like the beginning of the season, the end,
Yes.
all this sort of thing,
This
I think
is clumsy.
there's just all this would take would be some throwaway line
Yes.
about his a heart condition. It
Yes.
would
Yes.
take some line in some discussion, like when he's cooking.
Or run
If
with the
I'm
stab.
using less,
Yes.
I used to use this sort of thing. Now I'm using more whatever oil
Right.
because this old ticker isn't what it
Right?
used to be.
Something.
I've been
Something.
already been to the hospital once for my
Right?
heart. I don't
Right?
know, whatever.
Or like I said, run with the stabbing. Something happens, it gets exacerbated, Oz finds the advantage and presses on that and, you know, we take him down. Like,
Absolutely right.
it just and then immediately following that, Sophia gets him, brings him to the club, and then he has another miraculous escape where he, like, is able to bust out of the chair. Everybody's like, "Oh, what do we do?" And he just, like, shoots all the right people, grabs his mom, and leaves. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm so tired of this, like, escaping right now." It's all perfect. It all perfectly works out. And, yeah, it just felt a little stretch. I will say shooting that dude in the back of the eye was cool right after he put the drops in. Hilarious. Like, morbidly hilarious. But that was the only part of that I liked. The rest of his escape from the club, I was like, "No, no, no,"
Okay.
you
Yeah, it
know?
would have
So
been nice
it
if,
was too many, like, narrow escapes that just all really worked out for Oz and didn't seem to cost him anything.
sure. Yeah, would it have been interesting if some of the other gangs, like someone had decided to roll up and actually help out or something like that, so you had
Right.
some extra power to yeah.
It just
Okay.
yeah, like I said, the 2 narrow escapes where he's almost brought to justice by, "justice," quote, unquote, depending on
Mhm,
whose viewpoint you're at, by Sal, by Sophia, and he just gets away,
mhm.
you know? Sal was just like, he has a heart attack and, "Hey, Sophia, I beat him," but it was just like it was so unearned. It was so unearned to be like, "Surprise, like, I win, I destroyed Sal, I killed him," and it was like, "Didn't. Bum ticker, man."
I
Um
right, but, I mean, but that kind of fits I mean,
It totally
I
fits with
I
Oz
yeah,
claiming it, but it
he'll
was just
totally
as a
take
viewer, it was
credit.
just like, "Blah."
Yeah. No, for
So,
sure.
yeah. So, yeah, so those were the 2 I felt like related things over, I think episodes 6 and 7 or 7 and 8, I can't remember. But yeah, they were very unsatisfying and I think some of the weaker writing in comparison to other really strong scenes, like, our closing here where Oz flips the tables on Sophia at the hangar and, takes her for one last ride, and what is he gonna do,
Yep,
Are we gonna have him shoot her and, that's the end, or what's gonna happen? That's strong writing. That's good
yep,
stuff.
yep. Um, yeah, we should talk about, really, like, the end because that was crazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That was
Major
stuff I didn't
spoilers.
see
I
coming.
mean, we had Vic take the next step. He had to kill an old gang guy that was
Mhm,
bothering him. He had to do that.
mhm.
Tells him it gets easier and all that sort of thing, and, you know, it's like Oz has successfully got Sophia back in Arkham. He's with Vic concocted a plan to have all the second ranks take out the firsts, and now they're all gonna work together with this new drug. So he's got it going. He's got it made, and they have this great heart to heart on the bench, Riverside.
Ugh, ugh,
Vic says you're like family to me, and
ugh.
he's you know Oz says we can't. I couldn't have done this without you, kid. you know, and, not long ago, he said, you're gonna go places, people are gonna remember you."
Yeah, people remember our names. Mhm.
Mhm.
They're gonna talk about us. Oh my god, I didn't see it coming. I really didn't. I was shocked
No,
when
yeah, I
he
didn't
killed
see it
Vic,
coming.
and I am so sad. I mean, ugh, as a writer, I could see the reasons for this. Obviously, Vic, I think his story is more impactful this way. It's such a shock, and it really shows us what Oz is capable of again.
Mhm.
Um, just like if killing his brothers wasn't enough, here's Vic. So it really shows you like he isn't the clown that most people imagine him to be, or the, sad, pathetic figure. And people
Right.
really underestimate him, and we underestimate him as an audience because, yeah, I didn't think he was capable of this, but
Yep.
should have. The clues were there.
Yep. Yeah, I think I mean, I love the scene. I was absolutely shocked. Um, it was very well done. I think it was the right choice. I think that we had plenty of time to feel sympathy for Oz, and
Mhm.
the last episode, maybe the last 2, things really started to flip. I mean, we saw it before. We know he's a villain, but you don't understand the depths and for how long he's been so messed up, and how we've
Mhm.
talked about before. Really, every relationship he has is transactional, and it's to if it needs to suit his end, and that's it.
Mhm.
And there's no one else in the way. And I was listening to the podcast about this one, and they said like if Vic didn't love Oz, if he was just another hired guy, he'd be alive. But
Yeah.
because Vic cares for him and Oz actually cares for him, he has to die.
Yep.
And um, so it was great. It was that was done like very personal like that. But then
Mhm.
afterwards, I'll rifle through your pockets, get your cash, and toss all your ID.
Yep.
Like
Oof.
cold.
Cold. Cold. Yeah.
Um, my only issue is that
Mhm.
I again I would have liked one line somewhere, throwaway thing saying, "Vic, why are you so meek?" Like he couldn't lift something or something because I just feel like this. Look, we can say Oz is strong, that's fine, but I've seen people for not life and death try to be choked out, and they thrash and like try to really get out of it.
Yeah.
And look, it's Hollywood. They do this sort of thing all the time. People get choked, doesn't take that long, and they're dead.
Yeah.
Okay, but, you know,
Yeah.
nip
It
you know
doesn't mean you can't try to make it better
Yeah,
or
yeah,
more
make it more,
realistic.
make him struggle more, make it
Yeah.
harder for us. I don't know what I've seen that in, but I've seen it in something where they try to make, like, the strangulation really visceral,
Yeah.
brutal, and they could have the show is dark enough, they could have gone there and made it harder, you know? So
See, this is your people burning moment. I
yes, it
I wanted I wanted more realism in people
yeah,
burning up and not just, like, frying like a chicken and
yeah,
in a pan and, see, you want Vic to struggle, and I think
yeah,
I think these are both very valid
mhm,
criticisms to say, like, you need some realism here.
yeah,
Um, I don't wanna be, like, sick and watch this for, like, 5 straight minutes or anything, but you just need a little bit more.
yep,
So,
yep,
yep, nope, I get you.
that's yeah,
Yeah, I think in looking at that particular scene and, the stuff that came before where, we were talking about Oz killing his brothers, I think the thing that I do appreciate about this show is that Oz remains a villain. So many, I think, villain stories try to soften and have us understand and excuse behavior, and in certain scenarios, that works really well. We develop an empathy for, like, Sophia.
yeah,
We see her backstory and we go, "Man, I get it. You
yep,
are the way you are because of, like, all of these things that happened to you." With Oz, it's like, you did these things to you. You made these choices, you made pretty unforgivable choices, and you've really just, like, justified them not well, not
yep,
not in a way that, like, we as the audience can ever, like, vindicate you or truly empathize. We flirted with that early on in the season, and now they're coming back down to it like, "No, evil."
yep,
Like,
yeah,
so, yeah.
I agree. We got to see him betray, take advantage of, harm every person he's ever been in a relationship with. Everyone is, whether it's turning in Sophia, or it's killing her brother, or it's,
Mhm.
making a deal with the Maronis, and then I'm not, or it's his mom, I'm going to deliver you all this sort of thing, or it's the ultimate with Vic. It's always like you think he's everyone he's around, he ends up ruining or betraying.
Yes.
And look at that as right, we see that as pathetic because he's like scrambling or whatever. But then we get to see, like you say, it's more than just pathetic. He is
Mhm.
intentional and he's okay going all the way
Mhm.
for his own selfish gain. Whether it's
Mhm.
killing his brother, leaving his mom to fend for herself basically as her mind
Mhm.
goes. in a small home somewhere or whatever,
Yeah.
then killing Vic, who helped him get where he is, a
Mhm.
kid that he like took away from, you know, his family basically,
Mhm.
or then it's his mom
Mhm.
who he promised that he would not let end up in the state that she does,
Mhm.
and here we are. That's our
Yep.
ultimate thing. They had their conversation.
Mhm.
They were talking to Colin Farrell. They were asking what his favorite scene was, and his favorite one to do was that one with the bathtub and
Mm.
his and like talking in the. He's like,
Mhm. About her
those are the
wishes,
best
yeah.
moments as an actor. He's like two people in whatever space with great dialogue. That was it. It was just like it
Mhm.
was emotional, and we felt it. And we really worked together, and it was great.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we knew that that was Oz wasn't going to keep that promise, and man, he didn't keep that.
Mhm.
But he sells himself like, "Oh, look, mom, I've given you everything." Except the showrunner pointed out he doesn't call her mom at the
Yeah.
end. There, he doesn't say that, and yeah,
'Cause he
and it's
needs to dissociate for what he's about to do.
yeah.
Oh,
So when
so
he walked
weird.
away from her, and that we saw Eve in his, like, mom's dress, I thought he was, like, almost envisioning his younger
Yeah.
mom, because they
Yeah.
did that brilliantly earlier, like, this is how Oz saw it, and
Yep.
this is how his mom saw it, how it really went or
Yep.
whatever,
Well,
and,
I mean, they did that on purpose. They kept it blurry and
yeah,
vague and, showed her from the back first and, I mean,
mhm,
obviously, we were led to, is this a psychological break or, what's
yeah.
happening? And then, you really get the first clear shot of Eve's face and it's just nauseating. Ugh.
This
It
is such
is creepy and wrong and gross.
I've I've read a lot of Batman comics, but there's a lot out there, and I don't know of a definitive Penguin backstory. Like, we
Sure.
have in Batman Returns,
Yep.
but honestly, in most of the Penguin stuff I've read, it's not dealing with that. It's dealing with the
Sure.
here and now, whatever the crimes committed are, and often he's a, like, tertiary sort of thing. He's, like,
Sure.
not central focus. He's someone that provides information. He's someone that gets beat up to get, so Batman can find someone else. Uh
Mhm.
So I really appreciate that this show went out there and gave a version of the Penguin origin story that was well conceived and
Mhm.
creates a, a demented character of depth.
Mhm.
It's it's a great version, and it makes me excited to see the Penguin Oz continue in this universe.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I agree that it is a very interesting and creative backstory. And, you know, like I said, it's well done to have Oz be a villain. To start fuzzy middle to finish, like strong finish. But yeah, this is creepy. This is weird.
Mhm.
That Eve plays his mom and, Um, we just have to watch this, like, whole scene of them, like, dancing together and "Tell Me You're Proud," and it's so gross and weird. Um, I got nothing else for
It's
it.
so for, like, a psycho realistic too, though. Like,
Yes. No, I mean,
this is believable. It's good.
it is believable, like, I totally buy this. It's just,
Yeah.
it's tough to watch because, yeah, it's next level out there.
How's
And
that going with
Eve
you?
Eve knows has she has to go along with it.
Yeah.
I mean, she understands what her value is to Oz right now, and her value is to, like, be who he needs her to be. Um, obviously, that
Mhm.
sets us up with, like, very ominous feelings for a next season because we know how his mom ended up. We know how the people he "loves," quote, unquote. I don't know exactly the depth of his feeling for Eve, like, is he gonna transfer now? Like, does he separate even his mom? Are they now sort of like the same person?
Right.
where is this gonna go? But doesn't seem like it would end up well for her.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a thing that where she should have just got out, but
Mhm.
he's more power and influence now than ever.
Mhm. Yep.
So okay, on that, do you want a season 2 of this? Do you wanna see season 2 or do you wanna just, like, see what happens in the movies?
So here's what I would say because I wanna touch on just one other thing.
Mhm,
We obviously have an ending here with Kristen Miliotti's Sophia in jail, and she's getting her mail, and she gets a letter from Selena Kyle, which,
mhm,
ooh, that seems fun. She thinks it seems fun. We get kind of like the first expression we get in a scene where she seems zoned out. So interest peaked there. We get her lover, Dr. Julian Rush, delivering that mail to her, acting as, prison psychologist, bringing up the big questions. What the hell is going on with this character?
mhm.
Is he in there to help, hurt? Like, has he been playing her all along? Like, what's going on here? And then we get the real kicker at the end after we get the prison scene, after we get the creepy dancing between Eve Ma and Oz. We get bat signal. Ooh, ooh. So yes, in a way, I would love to see a season 2 if it's going to, like, pick some of this stuff up. If they're setting it all of this up to be directly addressed in a Batman movie, great to me too, but I do not want this cliffhanger. I do not want, like, Sophia/Selena Kyle to just be, like, left in the dust
Okay.
because I think that's really interesting. So, pick it up in a new season, pick it up in a movie, whatever you wanna do, pick it up.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, I mean, I think they put it in there for a reason. The you know, Matt Reeves is intimately involved. There's
Yeah.
some plan, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that this is a one season thing because really this is the Penguin, and now,
Yeah.
if he's on top, like, we got his backstory, like, what would you do in a season 2 that you wouldn't, potentially do now in a new movie, now that
Yep.
he's, like, fully ascendant?
Yep.
So yeah, but I do want this story to continue in some format.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I hope they don't do a season 2. I hope that the Discovery, Warner Brothers, whatever, doesn't, like, push too hard, demand one if there's not one there, you know? I hope they see that there's you know, someone was talking about this is, like, everything from DC, everything has lost money. Like, the second Shazam, The Flash, they canned Batgirl, it's, what other thing what else did they release?
Aquaman?
There was Aquaman, yep. It was like 6 things.
Mhm.
Black Adam, like everything losing money. The only things that have been positively received and made money was the Batman and now the Penguin. Now we don't know about Penguin making money,
Which
quote unquote, but
yeah,
it's been highly viewed. It's been doing very well in the charts and it's reviewing well.
are we talking about, like, DC as the split or DC total?
DC in the last several years.
Okay, because I
So
was gonna
like
say, like, Wonder Woman.
oh, yeah. Back,
Okay.
like, Man of Steel, I think Batman
Mhm.
vs Superman, this is Snyder time, that
Yeah.
stuff
Yep.
was still making money as controversial as some of it is or whatever.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the last few years,
Gotcha, okay.
last 5 years, probably the only thing that's done anything has been Matt Reeves's world here.
Mhm.
And so people are wondering if there's going to be a greater emphasis, if people from the top are going to come down and demand, like, hey, James Gunn, you've got to let Matt Reeves, his version of Batman, be in this thing. You can't just cast another Batman and stuff. Like, we're going to put
Great.
focus on whatever. I don't know. It's just
I mean,
clearly someone's got
great.
to see that this stuff is successful, but then that invites messing with it too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tenuous scenario because, DC does tend to ruin a lot of things. And they tend to, either push too hard or abandon early, and it always seems to be the wrong call. It always seems to be like you want them to make the opposite call on of whatever they make, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Um But yeah, I think our feelings are pretty clear, and I feel comfortable saying our feelings, on there being multiple Batmans. So, if the
Yeah.
success of this means there's only one Batman, great. Then
Yep.
get out of here, James Gunn, and go focus on your other stuff because nobody needs multiple Batmans and
Right.
multiple Batman universes.
To me, cancel your Boy Wonder
Yep.
Batman's cancel it.
Peace.
Star Wars
Peace.
cancels movies left and right. They've announced like half dozen things and they just axe them all. So like
Well,
just
I mean, DC does it too. Like they freaking pulled Batgirl. So just pull
yeah.
this. You
Yep.
know?
Nothing's
Not
been
that
done. It's
hard.
not nothing's been shot about it for yet. It's not
Exactly.
casted, just
Exactly. Not that hard. Just be done. Like this
yep.
is Batman now. And
Yep.
it's not like James Gunn doesn't have like 12 other projects he's
Yeah.
mentioned
Lots
to
of other
work
things he's
on.
working on. Absolutely.
So, yeah, just give your
Absolutely.
focus there.
Give your focus there and the studio still gets Batman content. You don't need to muddy the waters trying to make them mix. Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that's been the Penguin. The last few episodes there. If anyone's
Mhm.
interested in our thoughts from previous episodes, make sure you check out those podcasts as well. To me, this is one of the best. Well, maybe the best show of the year so far.
Mm.
I was worried about it. I didn't know what to think, but
Mhm.
I'm quite happy with what I got. Tonight, Dune starts, so maybe
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep my expectations low, but please let Dune Prophecy be good. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see where that goes and how that does. I also am gonna watch it, probably not tonight, but I will be checking it out.
nice. Okay, well, everybody make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the places. Tonight, I didn't pull it up. Foolish. Oh, wait, maybe you had it up. Maybe X. We're back live on
Yeah.
X tonight. So if anyone watches there, that's great. Otherwise, this will be available on podcast directories. You can subscribe to those places like Spotify, and that'd be greatly appreciated. You can support us there as well if you'd like, if you want to help pay for Restream and that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
um, yeah, that'll about do it from us. We'll be back soon, maybe with an anime episode about Terminator. Otherwise,
Mhm.
new season of Arcane is out. We gotta get watching that.
Yes.
Dune is going. We can talk about that per episode, every couple episodes. Whatever, we got all kinds of things happening. So make sure you stay tuned. And Andrea, thanks once again.
Of course. Cheers, everybody.